welcome to the SUNMICO AI podcast, where we explore strategic marketing topics that are relevant for scaling and growing your business. I'm Mimis Clearen, CEO of SUNMICO. We are a B2B marketing consultancy firm specializing in helping tech companies with transformation and growth. We hope you enjoy today's topic. The discussion will be led by Mike and Marie. Marie is a version of me generated through an AI tool, and Mike is my AI colleague.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we're jumping straight into probably the most critical balancing act facing B2B leaders right now. The great content divide. Yeah, the scene was set just a few weeks back, actually. Marketing leaders in Stockholm, quite a debate happening, and it all boiled down to one really foundational question. When should your really valuable expert knowledge be gated, behind a form? And when should you just share it completely free? So for you listening, maybe you're driving sales, setting the marketing direction, or you're the CEO making the final call. This deep dive is your essential shortcut. We're going to try and help you understand this really pivotal decision. Because it impacts everything, right? From how much your brand is trusted, all the way to the actual quality of leads filling up your pipeline.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because what we're really dealing with here is this inherent conflict. It's a strategic tension. On one side, you got that big goal, brand building, thought leadership.
Yeah.
That's the long game, building authority. But then on the other hand, you've got the pressure of performance marketing, that very immediate drive for, lead volume. Now, and the consensus, from the experts who were there, really sharp minds, it was pretty clear. There is absolutely no single default setting, no easy answer. The choice really hinges entirely on anticipating where that potential buyer is, in their journey.
Okay, right. So let's unpack that central tension. If it's not just a simple gate it or don't gate it, where does this decision typically go wrong for companies?
Well, it seems to fall apart when companies start prioritizing their own internal metrics over what the customer actually needs or wants at that moment. Too often you hear the mandate coming down, we just need more leads.
Right.
And that internal pressure, it just overrides the customer's objective, which might simply be, I need to understand this concept, or I need this piece of information.
So you're saying internal targets, maybe even vanity metrics sometimes, are pushing companies into behaviors that actually hurt the customer experience. If we start assuming everything needs a gate just to get a contact, we're fundamentally failing to demonstrate our competence first. And there's a cost to that. Our sources call it the trust cost.
Precisely. That's exactly it. If leaders aren't really careful, they can easily default to gating everything. And that immediately puts up a kind of intellectual toll booth, like you said. There's a cost to the relationship right away. Think about it. If you ask a prospect to stop, fill out a detailed form, maybe too early in their journey, let's say, for something they see as pretty basic, like an industry checklist, you're introducing immediate friction. And that irritation, it often leads to significantly higher bounce rates. That's the first tangible cost you see.
Yeah, that friction is just the start, isn't it? It really does feel like a bad first date, asking for way too much commitment before they've even had a chance to, size you up, decide if they even like you.
That's a perfect analogy, actually. And this kind of premature friction, it's not just annoying for the user, it leads to some pretty severe long-term business liabilities. So the first big one is reduced reach and SEO loss. It seems obvious, but if you hide your best insights behind a login wall, you're essentially telling search engines, and increasingly these new AI indexers, don't look here. You're blocking them from discovering and understanding the full depth of your content. So when you hide your best ideas, boom, you instantly limit your organic brand visibility.
Right, which directly leads to that second, maybe deeper liability. The sources called it hidden expertise. If I'm a potential buyer and I can't easily see how smart you are, how competent your firm is, how can I possibly trust you? Gating seems to prevent that natural low-stakes evaluation. I can't really form an opinion of your skills until I'm forced to commit to hand over my details.
Exactly. You're basically erecting this unnecessary barrier to building confidence. And let's not forget the third liability, which hits data integrity hard. Poor quality leads, people who are desperate for the information or maybe just curious, they'll often just submit fake details. You know, placeholder info, non-work emails, just to get past the form.
Which then means your marketing automation system starts filling up with junk data, and your sales team, they end up wasting hours, maybe days, chasing phantoms. Leads that are fundamentally inaccurate or useless.
Mhm. And the downstream costs, of cleaning up that bad data, verifying contacts, it can often completely outweigh whatever perceived immediate benefit you got from collecting those dodgy contacts in the first place. Now, contrast that whole scenario with the genuine power of the ungated approach. When you openly share your expertise, it builds undeniable confidence. It lets potential buyers evaluate your competence, your thinking, with absolutely no commitment on their part. It drives market demand and establishes your authority simply because you're proving out in the open that you really know your stuff, maybe better than anyone else.
Okay, so that makes a strong case. If ungated content is often the superior choice for building demand, for authority, for minimizing that trust cost, then when does the gate provide a necessary business advantage? When is that friction actually worth it?
The gate really needs to be used surgically, like a scalpel, not a sledgehammer, and only for content that truly, genuinely merits that exchange of contact information. We're talking specifically about inbound lead generation here, and it requires truly premium content. The value proposition has to be crystal clear and, frankly, significantly outweigh the hassle of filling out that form.
That sounds like a simple enough bar to clear, but clearly a lot of companies seem to miss it. What really separates successful gating from just, slapping a form on a generic 3-page PDF?
Well, when it's executed correctly, gating offers three potentially massive strategic benefits. And they all stem from the fact that the user is actively performing an act of commitment. So first, you achieve clear perceived value. The content itself has to feel exclusive, maybe indispensable. It's not just another checklist. Think more like a comprehensive proprietary financial model, or perhaps a detailed implementation template. If the content signals real scarcity and genuinely higher worth, maybe something that demonstrably saves the user, say, 10 hours of work, then they'll often willingly exchange their details.
That distinction feels absolutely key. It's an exchange of high value for high value. Your valuable data for their valuable insight.
Precisely. And the second benefit flows right from that high perceived value: qualified leads. Prospects who willingly jump that hurdle, who make that effort for truly premium stuff. They are demonstrating a level of intent that's just miles higher than a passive web visitor. They're serious about the topic. They're likely much further along in their decision-making process. These are the genuinely actionable leads your sales team actually wants and needs to prioritize.
Right. And because they've taken that committed action, you understand them better, which I guess leads straight into the third major benefit.
That's right. It's audience segmentation. The data you collect from this kind of high-intent interaction, it's gold, pure gold. You know exactly who is interested in what specific high-level problem or solution. And that knowledge, it allows you to segment that audience with incredible precision. You can power targeted, personalized marketing campaigns, nurturing those specific prospects directly towards becoming buying customers.
Okay. That brings us right back to the core challenge for the B2B leader listening. Before you commit to any gating strategy, it sounds like you need to conduct a pretty serious internal audit. Our sources gave us two crucial questions you really need to ask yourself hand on heart honestly before you hit that publish and gate button. So question 1, is this piece of content truly unique? Is it proprietary? Is it valuable enough that your ideal potential customer would actually happily share their contact details for it? Are you offering them a perceived gift, or is it just another generic white paper you knocked out in an afternoon?
And the second question, this one requires real organizational honesty. Are you gating this content solely to collect contact information? Perhaps because the marketing team is measured primarily, or maybe even exclusively, on lead volume. Are you letting that internal metric override the arguably more essential business goals of, proving competence first and building genuine market authority? If we zoom out again, connect this to the bigger picture, the entire conversation, really, it just boils down to balancing two fundamental, often competing business objectives. There's the need for efficient lead capture, of course, but that has to be weighed against the paramount long-term necessity of building market trust and proving your expertise. The right decision. It's always going to be the one that successfully harmonizes what the customer needs to achieve by consuming your content versus what your company needs to achieve by producing and distributing it.
Yeah, it really does all come down to that balancing act. Friction versus high intent. Use undated content widely for massive demand generation, build that trust, establish authority, and then reserve gated content for those very specific moments where the asset is so uniquely valuable that it reliably delivers those highly qualified, high intent leads. But in both scenarios, the ultimate goal never really changes, does it? It's always about demonstrating competence and building confidence in your ability to solve their hardest problems.
Exactly. And just as we wrap up, let's quickly revisit that point we touched on earlier about AI indexing. We talked about how gating content limits visibility for today's search engines. But that challenge, it's only going to intensify.
Yeah.
Given the already significant trust costs associated with hiding your expertise right now, it raises a really important kind of forward-looking question for you to explore next. What actually happens to the whole concept of gating when sophisticated AI systems become the primary indexer, the primary assessor of B2B web content? When they move beyond just keyword matching to actually evaluate quality, depth, and authority, does the strategic cost of concealing your best expertise just increase exponentially in that kind of AI-dominated indexing world? Something to think about.
That is a fantastic and truly relevant question for probably the next 6 months to a year of business strategy. Definitely food for thought. Apply these insights to your content strategy this week, everyone, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.
That concludes today's deep dive into B2B marketing strategy. Visit sunmico.com for more resources. This episode was AI generated using Notebook LM from materials created by SUNMICO. There may be some strange pronunciations of certain names and concepts by the AI generated voices. Thank you for listening.